Hi, I'm Evita Myriam, and I will show you how to rightly use the app. I call it the app because for me, it's the most amazing app. Many people have loved it. Many people have sent me emails when it stopped being available, and now it's back in the market. I'm trying to make it available for Android again. There's a tech person looking for it. It was available. Now it's available only for iOS, for Apple Store. All right, this is the Esoteric Arithmosophy app. Now, the app, I have to tell you in the beginning so that there is no, so that you understand this. This app doesn't calculate a phrase, a name, a date, only it doesn't add up the values of each letter. That is easy, right? It has there's a process after that. So this, when you add up the letter values of your name or whatever, you get a number. I call this initial number. That terminology exists, that term is in the app. And it's very important for you to understand the difference because once you have your name, for example, you can only add initial numbers. If you want to use something straight away, just use its number and not, like, for example, if your name is long or if you don't want to be writing your name every time you calculate, you can use your initial number. You can look up your initial number and use that, but not the esoteric number. The esoteric number is your initial number added to its reverse, right? It's a process. So you cannot add up esoteric numbers. You can only add up initial numbers and see the esoteric number of the sentence, the phrase, the text, the book. I have calculated very large text. So how to use it, all right? First, you have three little dots on the app, First of all, let's say you just buy the app. You open it, you scroll, you open the app, and it asks you to choose the language. So you choose the language of the country it has two choices, actually, Greek and English, because Greek is, it's essentially in Greek. So the whole thing is Pythagorean, Arithmosophy, and it is essentially in Greek. So if you were born in Greece, you cannot calculate your data in English. You can if you want. I have both. I do both, and they come out the same. I mean, there's amazing coincidence when I calculate for Evita Myriam, which is my artistic name, which my friends called me because they couldn't call me my long Greek name. And when I calculate my long Greek name in Greek, so I have the same answers, the same outcome, because the app is accurate. But your initial data has to be in your language. Now, if your language is in another language that has a different alphabet, then you choose the English language and not the Greek, all right? Because you cannot text in Greek. If you were Greek and you were born in the US, you have to use the English language. If you're American and you live in Greece, you have to use them English, So how to use it? You open it, right? You enter the language you want. This cannot change. Also, you have to enter your name. I think you can somehow delete this, not delete it, but cancel it and then get the app again or something, get a refund or something for the first day or so. But if you enter the wrong name, that's it. You have the wrong initial data. So be careful when you enter your name. And when you enter your name, you have to enter your full first, middle, as many middle names and surname that you have in your birth certificate. That is your Pythagorean name. If you're Hispanic, and you have mother's name, father's name, everything, you have to enter the name as is in your birth certificate, not as is in your passport. or as you don't put all the names, you put only if all the names are there, you put all the names, all right? So that's your accurate number. So then you have three dots. It says choose according, how is your name pronounced if you have a different pronunciation? Ignore this. I have to work on the app more. I have to make it more cool, more beautiful, whatever, and remove certain data that is really, nobody understands what it is. That is names of constellations or ascended masters, some ascended masters that nobody knows. So, or their names in other incarnations, etc. So I have to do this at one point, but it's not easy. My programmer cannot do it before September, so don't expect any changes before autumn. All right. So with what we've got, you just don't look at all. You ignore the pronunciation thing, and then you have your initial data. Your initial data show you your name, your each name separately, and your full name together. If you want to calculate, and they show your initial number and then your esoteric number. So in your initial data, you can see your initial number for each name. Therefore, when you use your name, when you want to calculate something like, divine plan for, and you want to put your name, you put the initial number. You memorize that number, or you just put your whole name again, all right? But you can use always the initial number of your full name. Now, the three dots are your name calculator, right? Your Excel, your word calculator, your name calculator. The name calculator is for when you want to see someone else very quickly, and you don't want to be doing all this, twin flame of success, target attainment, everything, and you want to see if you have something in common and to intuit what is in common with the other person or what is their role in your life. Once you play a lot with the app, you will understand how it works, how these coincidences create illumination, create moments of awareness, of insights. So then in the name calculator, you just enter the name of the other person and you press enter, and it gives the initial data of the other person. Now, if they're, for example, divine plan, destination, for example, is your karmic debt or your success, it means something, right? It means that you will see karmic relationships, but for example, perhaps their destination is to meet you. Perhaps your destination is a number that means your sun sign or your mission or relates to your place or your address or whatever. I will tell you later what we can calculate. So we have the name calculator. When we improve the app, I'm not sure you can store this, but we're going to be able to, we will add the button to store this in your data. Because if it's your husband or your boyfriend or your sister, you want to have this data in your database permanently. You don't want to be going back and forth. Oh, these are the numbers. What does it mean to me? Then you go back, then you enter the name, you look, it has to go in your database. So when you use the Excel, the word calculator, you have it there and it comes up in coincidence. So the other thing you have is your yearly calendar, right? So you have every month, it's self-renewable. It renews itself. So you always have a year ahead of what each month means to you. What is the outcome of each month? What is the number of each month for you, right? And then you will see a lot. You will see, for example, until now, this has been so accurate. So accurate. It's incredible. Now, another thing you have is the most important thing. You have disclaimer. The most important thing you have is the Excel, the word calculator. Now, in Android, I have it in my laptop, I have it on iOS, and in my phone, I have it on Android. So that's why, because I have a lot of research in my phone, I didn't change. So I went to a better phone, but still Android. So on Android, it is called My Excel. I think in iOS, It's called word calculator. I'm not sure, right? So that's, you go into your word calculator, which is the Excel in reality. You go in and it has 2 pages. That's the basic function, right? You may know this, but some people have just bought it and they don't know. Oops, sorry, I have to turn off my phone. All right. All right, yeah, so what it has 2 pages. One page is the page where you enter, where you type what you want to know, whatever you want to know, its number, right? And then it has a button which you enter, you write, you type, and then you enter it, and it takes you automatically to another page. It has 2 pages, so you can go from one page to the other just by pressing the button, right? It has the page where you can enter. It also has a button to go back to the other page. And the other page has a button to go back to the other page. So you can go from one page to another. There's no third page in the Excel. So in these 2 pages, in the first, you type what you want, you enter, it takes you automatically to the other page. Then you enter the number that came out, and you can see what other things have the same number automatically. Everything that has the same number comes out on the screen. Or you can use this page first just to see something. So you go to that page and you put a number that you saw on a license plate or something, or that you no, license plate you will put in the other page actually to calculate what it means usually. Sometimes I see palindromes and I'm like, oh, let's see what is the universe trying to tell me. So in the page where you see what the meaning, you can also put, of course, words, not only numbers. And then you see, if whatever has this word. And so that's the basic function of the app, right? So what does it mean? It means the coincidence means that whatever has the same number has the same potencies, has the same qualities and properties. Once the exact opposite of a word came up with the same number, and I was stunned, because it was like hatred and love, something like really opposite. And I realized that it's because they're the 2 sides of the same coin, they had the same number. And deeply, if you thought about it, I don't remember the words, unfortunately. I mean, there are so many examples of this, but if you think about it, they're related. And you can't have one without the other. So that is not a sophism. Everything that has the same number relates in some way. Perhaps, for example, you may get this person becoming a father or a mother, in the month of July or September, whatever. And then you can have it every year. You can look for this person, this number comes up, but then they have a child of that month, and on another year, not on the year when you calculate it, but it's always accurate to a great extent, I don't want to, I can't tell because I'm putting this on YouTube, but two of the masters of pranic healing have had, know how this has worked for, how the app has predicted amazing twice at least childbirth, and the one time it was on the day, on the day that it was predicted on Wesak. So, and exactly 1 hour before Wesak. So the app is very accurate. Now, for the things that are not meant to happen, you will discover that there is, for example, meeting my life partner this August, and then you go to this number, and this number is so many things that never happen. So if something is not meant to happen, it's going to come under a number where there's a lot of things that never happened. Many plans you made that didn't work out. It's amazing. Even that shows you, because you can calculate whatever. It doesn't mean that whatever will happen. Now, another thing you must remember, and that's the most important thing to remember about the app, is that you should not calculate negative things. You should not calculate wars, the end of the world, nuclear. There's not going to be a war, a World War III, and there will not be a nuclear war, according to the Ascended Masters anyway. So don't pollute your app. Trust me that you should not do that. It's not good for you. It's not good for your karma. It's not good for the app. And it's, not good for humanity. You shouldn't calculate negative things. You can calculate something that you really want to know, like if you're afraid there's going to be a war in your country, you can calculate it quickly, make 1 or 2 calculations and then delete. But the app doesn't have, in iOS, cannot delete. So I think it's better not to. Now, how to have accurate results? The first thing you do is, you can always quickly pick up the app and calculate something. But if you want to play, if you want to enter this state of, I'm going to play, I'm going to, do some, go deeply. It's like when you see angelic cards, you want to go deeply, you better invoke. It will take you 1 minute, and you're going to have all the angels and archangels guiding you. And they will guide you by just your thoughts. You will be thinking what to calculate, and it will be amazing. If you do it without an invocation, it's going to be, it depends upon your connection with your higher soul. If you have a good connection, then it's going to be better. But it's always safer to have, you can really, it's like pranic healing. You can be cleaning something for half an hour without any outcome, and then you just invoke and it's clean, right? With 3 sweeps. So it's the same. Invocation is great. It really guides us, immediately. Now, the spelling, the grammar, the syntax is very important. If you make spelling mistakes, then your outcome is not accurate. It's really not accurate. Slang, you cannot use slang. Slang, like argot, you cannot use that. It is not a proper way of writing. I don't think the higher beings and the angels, and I don't think the universe, because of course you can try some words in slang and see what they mean. And I don't think it will work. I don't think you'll get anything profound. What you give is what you get. If you write in a very proper and laconic way, not using proper syntax, not using a word twice unnecessarily, or, you have to write properly. Don't use abbreviations, or for example, also you cannot, although it is accurate, you cannot say, for example, Evita's home. It's better to say home of Evita, much better, because the Arithmosophy was not created for abbreviations, But if you write Evita's, at least put your spacing. It changes the outcome completely. You have a different outcome, and you will see. According to the level of your writing will be the level of your answer. What else? Yeah, that's the first part, how to write, right? And to invoke and how to write. Then what to calculate. What you can calculate depends on the way you phrase it. For example, you can calculate everything that will bring you can calculate a name for your business, for example, right? The right way to say it would be ideal or best name for best company name for, and you put your name, right? Best company name for maximum profit, for maximum financial prosperity, or best business name for you. Or you can say most successful name for. You have to be accurate, right? Just think of what you want to know. Don't write most popular name, because it may be your most popular name and then nobody buys your product if you have a company or your services. So you can find the name. Of course, a name also, you have to look at its arithmosophy, the straight arithmosophy, all right? And of course, the timing. If you open a company, just get a one-on-one with me, because I help companies grow immensely through this. Then you may want to know your success. For example, you may want to know success of Evita Myriam in year 2024. So then the number will show you other things that relate to your success, like what months, where, which places, what labors. For example, it may show a labor constellation. It means something. It's a test, because success is not only the fruit of work. Success is the fruit of good karma, and it's passing certain tests that may bring instant success. Instant success may come just after doing some good deed, and every time we are given the opportunity to help someone or to do service, then we are, this is a blessing. Instead of complaining, we should do it and we should be happy about it, and then we get rewards. Very rarely the rewards are not seen. Perhaps we were forgiven, not forgiven, let's not put it this way. Perhaps we neutralize the karma for an accident or an illness. You don't know what the good karma you gained prevented, right? Or what it was used for. Now, for example, you can also calculate your address, right? You can write your address, for example, James Street number, or you don't write like this, you can write 37, James Street, right? But if it is, for example, in some languages, you do write the word number, but it's better to just write in Greek, for example, you can write it, right? But you can write just a full address. You can try your full address with the area. You can try, and it's with the area. You don't need to add the zip code or the country or anything. But because think about it, if you just write down your row, if you write down your address and the area, then you write down your address and the area for Evita Myriam, then you will see what will be there for you in that house. Are you going to have the same street and number in the same name of an area in a different city? I don't think so. I mean, I've never heard of such a coincidence. But if it does happen, then look into the previous place where you lived to see the outcome. So you don't need to put the zip code or these details of the country. It's obvious. Just write the address and the city or the area, and then you write for you. You write first and then for you. So you see what it means for you, right? Then you can calculate the outcome of residence, for example, of Evita Myriam, for example, I'm just putting my name not to expose you. Outcome of residence of Evita Myriam at 37 James Street, London, whatever. You just put that, so you can see the outcome of everything. And that's how it's good to calculate the months. For example, September 2024, and then you have outcome of September 2024. If you have outcome of September 2024, that is for humanity. If you have outcome of September 2024 for Evita Myriam, for yourself, then it's for you alone. Whatever you calculate, that's what you get. So if you want to see the outcome of something, then you can calculate ideal home location or ideal city for your name, for a happy life or a prosperous life or for well-being, good health, whatever. You have to think of how you phrase everything. It's very important to phrase everything properly. Now you can also calculate your mission, if you say my divine mission, right? It is much better because you bring the divine into it. So when you say divine mission of Evita Myriam, for example, divine mission brings a higher interpretation into the number. Or you can say the will of the higher soul of Evita Myriam in relation to her service, her practice, her location of her residence, the location of her business, whatever, or in relation or the will of the higher soul of this person for her relationship with this person. You can see a lot from that. Like also when you look at a relationship, don't calculate relationship of Evita Myriam with John Doe. No, because if you say with, it means it's the relationship of Evita Myriam with a person. How about relationship of the other person with you? It's their perspective. It's better to say relationship of this person and this person. That's so much better because it shows the relationship. It doesn't show, with is more defining of a perspective. Also, when you calculate dates, you should use numbers for numbers and words for months. For example, 10 March is 10 March. It's better than, you can always, if it's your birth date, which it's good to calculate your birth date as well, you can calculate your birth date in 3 ways. You can write down, and that's a very significant number because very new beginnings, new beginnings and existential things will happen on days or in numbers, in the same number, under the same number. So if you want to calculate your birthday, you can just calculate all the numbers. Let's say you're born in the 10th of March of 1963. You write 10, 3, with a distance, right? 10, distance, 3, distance, 1963. This is one way to calculate it. The second way is 10 March 1963. And the other way is to put Sunday, 10 March 1963. So you have the day of the week as well. So that's all the information you get there, right? So this is more or less how you can calculate and what to calculate. And then what happens is you get coincidences and you start understanding what each number means to you. Of course, your initial data goes automatically, I think, in Android it does. I hope it does for iOS as well. You can also calculate again your initial data and it will produce different numbers because your initial data in the app is calculated in Greek. So I looked into many articles from newspapers online, in order to decide how to calculate English names in Greek. And the way that English names are written in articles, they're written in English. So the right way is not to translate the name, in Greek, because then you don't have the information of how it is written. But what I have done is that I have kept your name in the app in English, but then your initial data is in Greek. So your destination and all that is in Greek. So you have your outcome in Greek, which is a more profound outcome. And then if you calculate it in the Excel, you will get another number for your mission, your twin flame, everything. You'll get another number in English. Now, which one is right? Both. Both are right there, just giving you more information on your question. As long as it is rightly spelled, they're both right. If you get things in different ways, That's why sometimes I phrase things in many different ways as to understand, you know, from the coincidences, from what the meaning of each number is, what is going to happen, you know, what is the outcome of a month or of a day or a week or a meeting, right? You can say outcome of meeting between this person and this person. So this is more or less how it works. You can ask whatever you want of the app. You can text whatever you want. And the way now to interpret things is that is a bit more complex, because the app contains a lot of spiritual information, names of saints, of ascended masters, ancient gods, mainly spiritual things, and some others, some other phrases such as, for example, the voice of God, or I remember now the power of God, etc. These are names of angels, archangels, right? Each archangel has their own little phrase to define them. So you can, if you see something like that, you can go to the archangels. You can just Google it. Just go to Wikipedia and see what it is. They will, but of course, the meaning of the archangel's properties and what it brings in your life is something that it's not easy to know, right? But you can read what the archangel's power is, what they do, what each one is for. But of course, if you're a pranic healer and an arhatic yogi, you know much more. And if you're into knowledge, you know much more, you know. You can always ask me, text me. Also, you can, there are a lot of constellations like Pixies constellation, that means compass constellation. And there are so many constellations that are tests in the labors of Hercules. So if you have a constellation like Cassiopeia, this and that, just go to the PDF. There's a free PDF. I think it's in the Mystery School of Arithmosophy on Facebook, in the files. I don't know if it's still there. There was a PDF, free PDF of The Labors of Hercules by Alice Bailey. If you download The Labors of Hercules by Alice Bailey in an ebook form, it's so much better than having the book itself, because you can, and all the Blavatsky books, because they're immense, and Alice Bailey books, because you can, it has a search bar, and you can just enter whatever you're looking for, and you get there. It's amazing. I mean, whatever you want. So the labors of Hercules are full of constellations, and each constellation means something. And it means usually a test we have to go through, and we have to interpret it allegorically, right? You're not going to be killing any three-headed, monster or dog or whatever, or two-headed or whatever. Here, it's all allegoric. It means something, and in the book it explains what it is. But it's good because some of these coincidences are so beautiful. For example, a dolphin leaping out of water means that you have some control. It means you have mental control, you know. It doesn't mean exactly that you are in the third initiation, but it means that you have mental control, and you have control the elements, the fourth energy. You have energy, you have control of energy. You've done it. You can control energy. Therefore, that if you see a dolphin leaping in reality, that's what it means. Everything that happens in reality, or in our dreams, or in our visions, if you meditate and you have visions, or have phrases, hear something or see something, that it is all, it means something. It's an allegory, and it's a message from the universe. Everything that we see, everything that happens, there is no coincidence. Everything has meaning. I believe that. I have lived that for many, many decades. And before that, for many decades without realizing it. But it's true. And this is what spirituality is. Spirituality is the ability to recognize that endless science of that has endless cases and like for example, if you have medical science, you have experiments, right? You have an assumption, you test this, and then you have experimentation done again and again under the same circumstances, and then you have proof. That is how you get scientific proof. Spirituality is something that your entire life is proof itself again and again and again. And the same yogis have had the same experiences throughout ages without knowing each other again and again, so many times more than any medicals, any science has, experimented on anything. Even iridology that is not accepted 100% as a valid science. There was 1 million soldiers in the Russian army, I think. But that's, that doesn't matter. Just because they were Russian, they were humans, that were, because I'm saying that because there's this whole anti-Russia thing. And they were, a long time ago, there were 1 million soldiers who had their retina, mapped, and for 20 years, right? Every day. So for every period of time, like they would go every month and have the retina scan. And from that, there were so many, this is a science, more documented than any other science, right? Iridology. Give me a minute because I need to charge my laptop. Just a second, sorry. All right. Sorry, I'm back. All right. So, it's all about what we acknowledge and what we accept, what we find what we accept to investigate. Now, intelligent people should seek and should experiment and should have an open mind. Otherwise, if you have a closed mind, you're not a scientist. You cannot be a scientist and have a closed mind. It's a contradiction in terms.